All right, welcome back to the Onebar and Lupagus show. I am Lupagus. Minnesota Vikings will work out three wide receivers today. We're going to talk about them and what potentially this means for the roster. Before we do, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like, and comment. 12K by opening day. We're damn near there. I can smell it. It smells very delicious. It really does. So the Minnesota Vikings, according to Aaron Wilson on Twitter, worked out three wide receivers today. He wrote Dean Kane as the first one. I'm wondering if he means Dion Kane because the only Dean Kane I can find is Superman from the Adventures of Lois and Clark. But there's a Dion Kane, 6'2", 202 pounds, and he kind of fits the mold of what they've been looking at because these are UFL players today. Two of the three are. But if it is Dion Kane, he had 9 career receptions and 124 yards playing with the Colts and the Steelers. If it's someone named Dean Kane, then I don't know who that is. And I apologize, Dean, but I could not find anything on you other than the very handsome actor. Justin Hall was another guy that worked out. Went to school at Ball State. Was spent some time with the Raiders. He did play in the UFL for the Houston Roughnecks, and he had 56 receptions for 603 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then the other guy is a name I did actually recognize of the three, Dax Milne. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Washington Commanders. He had 2 years there. He's played 28 games, 15 receptions, 120 yards, 1 touchdown. He's 6'1", a buck 90. Also has some punt return ability with how many do you actually have here? 15 returns for 300 yards. Those are kick returns. He actually had 40 returns for 311 yards as a punt returner. So some experience as a return man. Again, when we were there at practice, the only people returning punts were Jalen Naylor, Jordan Addison, and Brandon Powell. So 3 wide receivers looked at. The Vikings are always looking at new players, bringing in new faces. We saw it last training camp constantly. This roster was in flux, was being molded. But you look at the depth chart. Where does another receiver fit in? Who is the man out here? Look at the wide receiver core. I don't see any of these guys being a more attractive option than anybody we have. If you start getting into obviously Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and Jalen Naylor has been absolutely balling out. Brandon Powell's probably safe. So you got 4, but you look at like the Trent Sherfields, Christian Jackson, Lucky Jacksons, Malik Knowles, Thayer Thomas, Jashawn Jones. I mean, we've seen those guys being worked in. Like, I would feel more comfortable with any of those guys in these 3 names that were just brought in. So I don't know if there's an injury we don't know about, if they're not happy with the depth chart, if they think one of these guys can actually push. Not really sure why, but then it's also like maybe another position is getting cut. And, who's been getting the bad reviews lately? Andrew Booth Jr.'s name's been brought up a lot as a guy who is not impressing. If those turn out to be true, maybe he's the guy who's going to get released. And then the other one, obviously Lewis Seen. He's not even getting on the field. A long shot to make the roster to begin with, and he's not going to make it standing and watching on the sideline. So maybe the Vikings just cut ties and say, you know what, we're going to bring Dax Milne to replace you, our first ever draft pick of this regime. I don't know. Again, none of these names really get your parts, throbbing. But yeah, I don't know. Vikings apparently working on 3 wide receivers, so we'll see if they sign either one of these guys or if they're just taking a look at what's out there. But again, kind of odd the names they're looking at and where they'd fit in the depth chart. But again, Kwesi always looking for value, no matter what and no matter when. Let me know in the comments what do you think about these 3 guys. Is it just nothing? Are they just looking for another camp body? Or are they not happy with this wide receiving core? Or does it just mean nothing? Let me know and keep your skull in your hole.